small town, Columbus, Georgia, Phoenix City area. Most people know that's Fort Benning, Georgia. Siblings, 5 siblings, coming up in the South, Georgia, Alabama area. So that's self-explanatory, right? This it'll be perfect. Then from there, man, I always been involved in music and just the business and production and stuff of that nature. Then I joined the military, served my country for 10 years. And had a little girl at the end of my career, and she got medevac here. She was born premature, and so they sent her here to Bellamy, and then I just decided to stay here, moving around until she get healthy enough.
I'm kind of curious. Tell me about your career that you're doing right now.
My career right now, Street Legends Production is a production company, and also Street Legends Academy is a school. One and the same, so it actually ran like a label and production company with artists. I was more the artists that don't have the funding to promote, so we provide scholarships for students and stuff to come in and learn the art of producing for us, engineering, making music, and then we sit you down to teach you the industry part of it, how to make your money, monetize, get paid off for everything that you do, so you can be smart and keep residuals coming in. So we're teaching our community the importance of credit, business credit, personal credit, residuals, syndications, and stuff like that to keep the community going. So that's what the company does.
So, first, so I want you to tell me about your early life, from pre-K to all into high school, all that.
Well, early life, I guess you are somewhat shielded from the world like any other parent. But that percentage when you start going into stuff like Head Start, pre-K, you start noticing little things differently. Certain people get treated a little different than this, or a stigma on certain people. So in the South, you see it automatically, you know what I'm saying? If you're not shooting the ball or running up a field,
Go ahead. I just want you especially. I just want to focus on you right now.
Yeah, definitely, go ahead.
So I just want to tell me about your life growing up.
Growing up, let's see, mom was in the church, father side of the family, they was more into the streets life, I guess, more or less. So I guess I had the best of and the worst of both worlds, saying on You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Growing up, you see on both sides, you learn different things, how to survival, and I guess how to turn things off and on to adapt to your surroundings, more or less. So my mom was big on education, and my dad's side of the family was big on making money.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And being a leader, they both mutually focus on making me myself as a leader, never be a follower, never be a trendsetter. You know what I mean? So that was growing up, and they did tell me growing up, I understand like the formula for success.
Yeah.
It works different for us than it did for the next man. And I think early on they instilled in me, I didn't get the concept at first, but no matter what happens, like you and somebody else can have the same skill set, but being that you are young, black, you're gonna have to work extra hard to prove that you're better than the person, even though you have the same skill sets and stuff. At the time, really didn't understand it, but as I got older, it was like a punch in the face, you know what I'm saying? So
do you have any siblings?
Yes, I have 3 sisters, 3 brothers. So we grew up separated, if I can say. We grew up separated.
You want to explain a little more to me?
My siblings my older siblings are older than me, so they was around a little bit before I was. But however, we had outside family members, jealousy. You know how kids are. They think the grass is green on the other side. Then those family that feed them the nonsense, and they turn against the home team and leave. Yeah. So we was kind of separated a long time. And like actually, we're just now coming together as siblings and burying hatchets and getting misunderstandings and stuff out of the way. And so you got decades of that going on, and just decades of hurt going on. So I didn't really grow up with my siblings. I was all separated a lot. So.
So are there any interests you have? Anything that's important to you?
Family, community, and my biggest thing is loyalty is my biggest thing. And especially in this day and age where everybody trying to get something, it's hard to find real friends and family to be like, I'm gonna lose with you and I'm gonna win with you. And being a leader, I try to show that. So that's very important to me, to be as transparent and lead leaders. You know what I mean? And lead leaders. If you can lead a legacy or something behind to keep the community growing, then you done did your job. So that's very, very important to me.
Do you have any hobbies that interest you?
Yes, of course. Music, like, you know, I've always been in music since I was a kid, you know, from writing poetry to rapping to battle rap as a teenager to growing up as an adult to learn how to have my own establishment to process and put out music. Film production and different, that came along later, but just music, writing, I love writing, and my favorite is reading. I don't watch TV. I love to read. I love to read. I love to read because I don't like not knowing. If I'm in a group of hockey people that love hockey, I need to know what icing mean, what this. I just I don't like to not know anything. You know what I mean? So I'm always reading and studying.
So how would others describe you? Your friends, your family? How do they describe you as a person?
They'll say ambitious, self-motivator, a motivator to other people. So I'm a giver. I know they'll say that. They know they'll say I put people before myself. Sometimes it's a bad thing. A lot of times it's a bad thing. They know they'll say he make a lot of sacrifices. He get on my nerves. He's stubborn sometimes. He make me sick sometimes, but you know he pushes us. So you know they come with the good and the bad. So you know.
So real quick, I kind of want to go back to your upbringing from being from church life to also on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like for you growing up, like experiencing both cultures?
You realize they wanted the same. You realize they wanted the same. You know, my mom got remarried, and you know, I can see my mom going and let the Lord use her, but come home and dealing with like an alcoholic stepdad. So, you know what I'm saying? Or you'll be hanging out with some of the preacher's kids, and you see them roll up, and they got the same habits that they do. They just got a hideaway. So you realize that it's one and the same. You know what I'm saying? One just know how to hide it and mask it rather than the other. You know what I'm saying? And manipulation and control works on both sides, you know. Some people, you know, only open their Bible on Sundays and Wednesdays, and those people that know that can easily, God said do this and make you humble and put you in line. Yeah. And the streets is, you know, they don't use those type of words. They use their own methods and stuff, but it's pretty much one and the same. It's a fight within one and the same, you know what I'm saying, in between. So I learned that early on.
So going to our next topic. So I want your definition on racism in America.
Racism in America is my definition. It's an intimidation factor of another ethnic group feeling that this group has the possibility of being greater than us, so we're gonna tear them down to make ourselves look good. Black, white, black, mainly blacks, Hispanics, and put themselves in a position to keep you from growing. And most of it is mentally now. And yes, still stuff out there by color, but you know, racism is more mental, by class, by, you know, I mean, they go up on tuitions at these colleges, make it hard for black kids. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm Mexican. They call it inner city kids, right? But more or less, we're out of city kids. We out of the scholarships. We out of the medical programs. We out of everything that y'all got going on. You know what I'm saying? So y'all the inner city kids. Y'all in the inner circle, getting everything while we get the leftovers. You know what I'm saying? So it's I don't have a definition for it. I have an adjective if I can tell you what it is and what we go through. Yeah, so I mean, even when it comes to businesses, you know, LLCs, and you know, it's a process, but it's another process. It's an unspoken process. You know what I'm saying? It's Becky and Rachel have the same qualifications, more likely, because Becky, you know, they making rules. We can't have dreadlocks. It's legal to turn out a job interview because you got dreadlocks. It's, you know, I can't look at your resume because you got apostrophe in your name. Who is that for? You see what I'm saying? Like, you making subliminal but straightforward laws for a certain culture and right in our face, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it's just the way it is.
So Do you have any stories to tell about you yourself facing racism?
Got too many. I'm from Georgia and Alabama area, so yeah, off top. So
So here, let's break it down. Is there one in specific, like,
in
or
Pacific,
two that's like really have it impact your life?
yes. I think being in the military, that stint, my 10 years in the military, where I seen it and it have impacted me as a person, more or less. Where they say we don't see color, we all green, but it's not true at all. And I think becoming an NCO, it have very impact. 'Cause you have a black soldier get in trouble, a Mexican soldier get in trouble, and a white soldier get in trouble for the same thing. And you wonder why, the white kid got a slap on the wrist, and the black soldier getting completely kicked out the military. The Mexican kid getting completely kicked out the military. And you're like, wow.
So can you explain for those hearing this now, like your story of what happened?
Okay, so I give you an incident where we have, let's just say a drunken boy. And this is me as an NCO. And when I got other black NCOs, like, just play the game. Because they don't want to give up anything. Just do your job. But you see, we had 3 soldiers, white, black, Mexican, get into altercation. And so what happened is the police get called, they all get arrested. They standing there, we get the phone calls, your soldier this, your soldier that. And you see these soldiers get caught in front of the higher ups, and then punishment is issued. You gotta execute these punishments, and you like, same crime, different repercussions. And as a black NCO, you're like, man, what I'm gonna do? You speak up, it's a problem. You know what I'm saying? For me, speaking up and having to deal with these situations, I got a lot of backlash. You bring in division among us. I'm like, y'all bringing division among you, kicking somebody out with 2 other people with the same crime. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Normal kids, they make mistakes and you're frying them. They're just one instance of it. Just like, wow, there's an eye opener. It is a game that you gotta play, and to you, to be honest with you, it make you look like a coon, or the words that go around. It's just like, wow, I gotta eat that. You know what I'm saying? So that was hard for me, and that's just on. Even when it comes to like myself personally, where same deployments, same skill sets, same job, same work, and stuff of that nature. We got this thing called the promotion board. Then you had a thing called a ghost board, where like we all gotta go through the standards, but a person can get promoted and worked up, and they don't got to be around for the judgment of people, but you got to stand in front of the people and plead your case why you the best at what you do. So these different things give you a different insight on just discrimination and racism, and it hurts even more when it comes from your own kind. You're like, come on, brother, you had to climb this ladder like I did. Why are you acting like that? And that gives the other culture a pass to even be worse. So the experience that you feeding the ammunition to be worse, you pretty much saying, oh, it's okay because I said it or I did it, so y'all can have a leeway with it and run. So it's just like, oh, wow, this is really happening here in our coaching, in our community. So that had affected me a lot. And even the way I deal with people in the civilian world, as they call it, you know what I mean? So that's one instance that just like really just was detrimental, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, when I told you in the beginning, you're gonna always have to work harder to show that you're better than and that came back for a play as been in the military. And you have to be quiet.
So go back to your earlier life. Like, let's start from like early childhood.
Mm-hmm.
What can you describe like what kind of racism that you faced in early childhood?
So I had my first job was at a barbershop. I was sweeping the floor, you know what I'm saying? Because I really couldn't, I wasn't old enough to get like a, paycheck. So I was sweeping the floor, sometimes the barbershop closed at 8 or 9, and I walk home. I probably was like in 7th, 8th grade, junior high. And so the guy that owns the store next to the barbershop, my stepfather used to do a lot of work for him. So the guy knew me, you know what I'm saying, or whatnot. And so one particular night, and this pisses me off now thinking about it as well. One particular night, it was a late night. We closed about 9. It's one of those days where school is back in, or one of those holidays, one of those big events where the barbershop is just like packed. So we sweeping the floor up. I doing my thing. I get paid my little money or whatever. I go straight home. No, I'll go to the store, stop by the store, and I pay for my stuff, and I'm walking home, and like you make a turn, it's a straight hill. So I'm walking home, and all of a sudden this police skirt in front of me, and sit me down and be like, you fit the description. And they say you just took and robbed the store, and I just had a bag of stuff too, you know what I'm saying, and a receipt. They put me down, they pat me down, and they didn't ask no questions or anything. They didn't even call my parents. They didn't even call my parents or whatever. And so until I got help, I'm like, yo, can I at least call my parents, let them know what's going on? God was like, yo, just sit right here. You stole this, you did that. I'm like, I literally just left the store like 5 minutes ago. You know what I'm saying? 5 minutes ago. And I got a receipt. They didn't even try to check the receipt. They didn't try to do anything. Keep in mind, I'm a kid still, so I'm just like, okay, here we go. So we go through this whole thing or whatnot, and I finally get in touch. No, I was with my friend Darren Clark. I never forget it. Darren Clark was walking with me. He went and got my mom. That was one of my best childhood friends. He went and got my parents. And my mom came down to the store, and I'm sitting there. I'm in handcuffs. I'm like, wow. I'm here every day. Y'all see me every night. Y'all see me walk past. We didn't do work for you. And so the lady behind the counter was like, no, that's not him at all. And I was so upset about it. I was like, wow. Y'all didn't even have the audacity to, and this is a small city. Everybody know each other. So it's not like you don't know or whatever. So my friend Darren Clark went and got my mom. She came down there and she was livid. You know what I'm saying? What pissed me off to this day, and it just messed me, my stepdad came down. He's like, what did he stole? What did he do? He just immediately figured that I did something. Never was a problem child in school. You know, I was a typical kid. I was mischievous, but it wasn't. I ain't had to steal for nothing. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to steal. Little stuff for, maybe coming in too late, or, you know what I'm saying, you heard me listen to Tupac in the house when it was supposed to, he cussing or whatever. Little minor stuff, but to this extreme where I'm in handcuffs and I'm here with your employee that you do work for or whatever, you chose to pick the man side over mine, like what I stole. And you already know I'm working and earning my little money, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, wow, the cop didn't have no remorse or no anything. He treated me like a statistic, rather, more or less, and went on by this day. While this lady who was like, nah, that's not him, they're not even close. You know what I'm saying? And she told me, I told you he was tall with a beard, this. I'm like, this time you don't hit your growth till 8th grade. I'm short, smooth face, couldn't even get no hair on my face, you know what I'm saying? Totally opposite what the lady said. I'm sitting here in handcuffs. You won't let me talk. You didn't check my bag for receipts. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then for my stepdad to be like, hey, what he stole now? You know what I'm saying? My mom and then was like, and Darren, like, he didn't steal nothing. We was all walking. They let Darren, my boy, go. You know what I'm saying? He was on his bike. They let him go and took me in. You know what I'm saying? It's humiliating. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you won't get no service from me again. I'm only a kid, but yes, they ain't spending my money there no more. I know that. I knew that much. And I think that the failure was just as a father or just a male figure in somebody's life, you know, you're supposed to stand by that. You know, especially if I ain't saying holding your child up in the wrong, accountability, but the fact that you was already on their side and you see this as a racial profile of discrimination, you just handcuff a black kid and take him down to the store and just tell him what he did do anything. You know what I'm saying?
So just going back to your stepdad, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did it make you feel exactly? Like, just like as a kid?
As a kid, I told myself, when I get older, I'm gonna beat your ass. But no, I love my stepdad though. No, don't get me wrong. I mean, he taught me a lot of stuff, but you gotta keep in mind the time they grew up in. It's like, that's the problem. Like, he was one at that particular time, oppress, take the oppression, be quiet and keep the peace. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, he wasn't a good communicator either. You know, typical man, I provide for the house, ain't with the love, I love you, hug it type things, you know what I'm saying? So, but at that particular time, it was like, we're gonna be right all the way. You know what I'm saying? So I had resentment for a while. I was like, man, Uncle Tom, this, that, you know what I'm saying? Because my dad's side of the family, they street, like my biological, they street, you know, black power, not like Black Panther, but, you know, empowerment of the black person, like, yo, go get it. Do this, boom, boom, boom. Because I know if it would have happened on that side, we would have tore that store up. We would have tore that store up. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the being of my mom at the time, you know, working, middle-class black woman, 2 jobs, trying to make things happen, you know, so she know, like, okay. Now, she'll act up too, but, I mean, she just handled it a different way. She was the typical black mom, but she let him have it too. But, however, you know what I'm saying, as a man, I would never do that. That put that notch in me, like, I would never do that. My 4-year-old daughter go through something like that, I'm cutting up. You're gonna have to lock me up. You know what I'm saying?
I do understand that, like for kids, especially for male and female, is kind of different of how
Of course.
we treat them.
Of course. So
And yeah, so now going from your from like your tweens, all that, let's go into high school. Is there anything that happened in high school that you experienced?
for us, high school, it was the biggest thing. You know, we had just the teachers was just they was how can I put it? They would subliminally like say little things and do little things. You know what I'm saying? To indicate that, you know, this other being is superior than us. No, when we were in Spanish class, they try to teach it differently and say it to you differently, even though we all in the same room, we all in the same milk pot, but you say certain things different. Like, what you mean? Excuse my language. What you mean by that? What you mean by that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Or, you know, the white teachers come in, they shake everybody's hand, but they wanna, like, don't do that to me. You know, it ain't cool. Don't quote no lyrics to when you're talking to me. That's the little stuff you had to deal with in high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, yo, y'all don't see what they doing? They'll shake Jimmy's hand, but they want to do all the daps with Cedric or with, you know, whoever. Like, oh, that's not funny at all.
And so with that in mind, do you think like any kind of form of racism came into play?
I think so automatically because, you know, you knew who to do. You knew who to hand to shake that way, who not to. Or you felt comfortable enough to be like, you know, I can do this with this, but I'm not going to do that with this person. Professionalism is professionalism, you know what I'm saying, regardless of what. And that's what you're supposed to be teaching during those years. But, of course, especially in a dominant white staff, you know what I'm saying? So you got these black kids who the school pulling in black kids because they're athletes. They're athletic. Basketball champions, football champions, of course. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to adapt to your surroundings, not knowing that you are putting these seeds into people. Like, yo, that racist as hell. You know what I'm saying? That you're comfortable enough to feel that you can do that.
Yeah.
It's small, but that's how it always starts. You know what I'm saying?
And so with that, like going into your music, have you experienced any form of racism?
Oh man, they used to be all the time. That's why it's best to have your own. You can do what you want to. You know, your music too political, or your music is too cultured. You know what I'm saying? It's all good for me to sex, drugs, tell my sister bend it over, bust it open, wide open, shoot this. I mean, when you talking about rappers, they talk about shooting niggas and doing this. They're not talking about shooting white people. They're not talking about making a white girl twerk. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, make that type of music. You need this type of hit. You need this type of song. Like, man, I'm not doing that. It's wrong for me to embrace us. Like, yo, we need to do this or do that. So a lot of times, man, I've been set back on different things. You know what I'm saying? People close to me were like, that's not gonna work. It's too political. It's too pro-black, or you targeting a certain art and losing this right here. You know what I'm saying? So it was all the way through. So that was the motivation of like, I'm getting me a platform and let artists be free, because everybody don't want to talk about that. Everybody don't want to tell you, spend all your money on jewelry, go buy the biggest car, hey girl, bust away. Everybody don't want to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, we ain't pushing that. It's not gonna get no spins on our station because of this and because of that. I'm like, oh, so I'm not tearing down my culture. Y'all ain't giving me no play. I'm building my culture, so I can't get no play. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. So it's like, okay, but let me make I got artists that make that type of song. I don't say anything, but I do put it in their ear, like, y'all do got to put something else out there of empowerment, because we got too much of it going down.
And so with today's music, right? How do you feel with all the songs coming out with sex, drugs, all that?
Well, how I feel about it, I actually hate it, because, like, I mean, growing up, if anybody from like the early 80s, 90s, even like the early 2000s, you're talking about music where we respected the hustlers. We wanted to get out the hood. We don't, you know what I'm saying? Now they make it cool to be dumb, a junkie, and a slut. They make it acceptable. They make it acceptable. We got kids that are not even black. My nigga this, my nigga that, F this and that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we like, what are we doing? Why are we embracing that? Why are we so you know what I'm saying? And this is getting more more of, it's an epidemic. And my biggest problem with just music and the culture, as the society loves black culture as long as it ain't coming from black people. You see what I'm saying? They love black culture as long as it's not coming from us. We get your J-Lo's, your Lil Pumps, your Bruno Mars, and everything. They love our culture as long as it's not coming from us.
And so, why do you think from music from 80s, 90s switch over into from the 2000s? How do you think that switch occurred?
Well, first, I think one, I don't know if you remember the era when it was just like a bunch of black female. Let's start with black female MCs. When you had like your Eve, your Shaunas, your Raw Diggers, and these black MCs, just female black MCs, and then all of a sudden, the pop culture started creeping up in hip hop. Then your Fergies and your Gwen Stefani's and people who've been around, like Gwen Stefani, been around forever. You know what I'm saying? But they're coming into these cultures and they're making that stuff. They take on our persona and take it to their side of the town, and people start looking like, oh, that's a big market, and they start making that money off culture vulturing. You know what I'm saying? It's forever. Like, you know, we've been seeing, we had Usher, Justin Timberlake, New Edition, New Kids on the Block, MC Hammer, Vanilla Ice. You see what I'm saying? So it always got to be that parallel level. You know what I'm saying? But it can't be Gucci, Carl Canal, Fendi, Fubu. You see how that you see how that works? Mm-hmm. They're gonna protect their culture by any means, all means, however. But when it comes to us, we're quick to sell out for $1 and not understand that, like, hey, we have value. The money can't buy that value like that. And so they give that people they give that people that pass to do that.
So do you think that like with taste music is kind of devaluing who we are as a black community?
Of course, like, come on, like. Oh, yes, we have drug addicts in our neighborhood. We have drugs and stuff of that nature. But since when have you ever seen in your lifetime being here where just a black culture every day just endorse things that's killing people? Just endorse just killing. You know what I mean? For just like, man, it's okay to be a junkie. Don't worry about going to school. For a long time, it was like, yo, get out of here. Do what you gotta do to get out of here. Now you ain't real no more if you go to college. We'll throw a big party for people that's in prison, coming home from prison, and don't do nothing for the boy who just got his PhD in college.
And why do you think that is? Like,
because we got it's been put in systematically set up to where, you know, what's the definition of real? If I take care of my kid, go to school, make positive music or whatever, I'm not real because I'm successful, but I'm a real dude for killing somebody, slanging drugs, having multiple women. That make me real. Y'all celebrate that. You know, society make money off of that. And you selling yourself short. You know what I'm saying? Like in the black culture, you look at the cemeteries in the street, they got the person that they got the person that cure AIDS. They got the next astronaut. They got that, but they dying because of the fact that instead of reaching a hand out, the world, like, we want to be Instagram famous. We want to be world star famous. We are taught to survive as a black community while the other people are taught to, you know, invest in each other and pull the next one up. You know what I'm saying? So, like, and this is stuff that we've been, you know, even in the military, they used to tell us, like me and you talking, you know, and her, say she with us, right? They be like, oh, y'all too much. Y'all ain't back on the block. To tell black people that y'all ain't back on the block, break it up. What y'all think this is, just the block? But you want to tell a group of white people, oh, y'all ain't back in the trailer parks. Y'all ain't back in the suburbs. Y'all need to break that up. You talk to us like that. And everybody think it's funny, it's cute. Too many people hang, too many black people. Y'all look like a gang. That's how they talk to you in the military. You like, what? Too many white people. Y'all look like the KKK. You ain't getting that. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. That's how they talk to us. And they say it so much it becomes your norm. And you take a step back, you be like, back on the block. White people don't use the word back on the block. You know what I'm saying? You see where I'm coming from? So this is the stuff that you hear and you see.
And so with that added, I want to ask you, so how do you exactly feel about for white people trying to act black?
I get highly offended. I get highly offended because you don't know how to act black. Because me and you are two different blacks. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, you know, they'll tell you, oh, you articulate well for a black man. Why I just can't articulate? Why do I just don't know how to articulate? I hate it. You got now, you ever heard of blackfishing?
Mm-hmm.
Where the white girl go to the store, buy makeup that look like your complexion and make her whole body black. Then you got black man co-signing. I'm like, we got sisters that's like that for real. So once again, they love black culture as long as it ain't coming from black people. And then as a black man, why do I gotta get backlash for giving my sister props? You beautiful. Continue getting your degree. That's a problem. But if I'm throwing money on you, y'all straight with it. So of course I hate it completely.
And so with that in mind, let's go vice versa. Like, how do you feel about for anyone that's Latino, Asian, or Black trying to act white?
When you say act white, because all white people are the same, it's the same trigger, but however, I know you doing that for symbolism. You know what I'm saying? You want to feel like you made it. Acceptance by the outside culture. Like we don't need them. We don't need their Oscars. We don't. No matter half of the inventions in America, black people. The traffic light, the lawnmower. A matter of fact, the makeup that the white people cake their face on. C.J. Walker. You know what I'm saying? So, but the fact is that we lost culture, not educating each other. You want to go and get that acceptance from them, like that Mac number 3. Thank you, C.J. Walker. That gas mask that the fireman having. You know what I'm saying? So these different things. Even the lacrosse alligator shirt. It's a black tennis player. But the white culture get it, and it's all good. I'm quite sure white people go buy a car canal right now. It'd be the biggest thing that's since sliced bread because they always looking for that acceptance. You know what I'm saying? You fall in love with who you fall in love with, but at the same time, me personally, I have a black daughter. I can't tell my daughter every day that she's beautiful. Then she see me marry a white woman. There's nothing racist, but I don't want to psychologically damage her because she's going to be like, what is it about me or what is it about my mom or whatever, that you feel like you got to go outside and we weren't good enough. And that's the thing. That's how I personally think. And I'm not representing, everybody that's on my label, my brand, or around me, but that's just the truth of the matter is you got a black kid, you tell her she's beautiful every day, then you marry outside the race. It kind of confuses her. If I'm that beautiful, why you ain't keep the ball rolling within our culture?
And so I like your bit when you said like we're different type of blacks.
Mm-hmm.
And so why do people always think there's like one type of black?
Because television. We let the television, if that makes sense.
Can you explain a little more?
Okay, we let the television say you what black is. When I say television, it tells a vision.
Yeah.
It tells you, we let that tell you what black is. I mean, we do it sometimes as black people. We'll see a Mexican, we expect him to have his shirt buttoned up and choloed out. We let the TV tell what black is. Every black is not meant to society. Every black is not Boys in the Hood. And every black is not a Tyler Perry movie. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you go outside of the country, they shocked when you walk in with just some loafers on with no Jordans or Nike symbol on it. You know what I'm saying? You may not be athletic, and I'm not judging by your look, but you may not be athletic. And you may be the smartest thing in the world. Conversation, talking, you know what I'm saying? At different degrees of just what a black person is. Where not every black person don't rap. Every black person don't sing. Every black person don't do music. Every black person don't own Jordans. Every black person don't, shoot basketball, run up a field. You know what I'm saying? It's more to black, but everybody want to be black until it's time to be black. You got videos where white people are comfortable enough when they get arrested by the police, don't shoot or tase me like a black man. Like you bold enough to say shit like that. So what that tells you on regular TV, in press conference, you look it up, the cop they shot this white boy, right? And you in a press conference like, well, at least he ain't black. You are comfortable enough to say that. So that lets you know the degree of how y'all feel about us. You see what I'm saying? LeBron, shut up and dribble. The president, Bush put a law in, if you talk about the president in any bad way, it's treason. But yet, when Obama was in office, you got on CNN and called him a vagina, but a P word. You see what I'm saying? That's treason. So the laws only work for who? So that just goes to show you it's different levels to being black, or it's more than just black. And I'm talking light skin, dark skin. That's just a whole nother Willie Lynch thing. But it's different degrees and methods of it. You know what I'm saying? So Miley Cyrus twerking. Oh, that's the next thing to sliced bread. Everybody know Uncle Luke and all them started that. But when Mike Brown and all this other stuff, when black issues arise, you didn't hear from your Miley Cyruses. You didn't hear from your UFC people that's wearing the cornrows. Everybody want to be black until some black shit happens. Simple as that.
And so also to add to that, how do you feel about like for those who for like let's say white people saying nigger or nigga?
Oh man, I hate that shit. Nobody don't get no pass for that. I hate it.
And what do you think they always say? Oh, I have to end pass.
Because once again, as black people, we are the most forgiving and loving people ever. An example, if you was to get a white girl and you bring her home, your family gonna say a little something, but eventually, quick, more than good, they're gonna accept it, embrace, and love her. By the time she getting embraced and loved by your family, you still going through hell with her mom and dad trying to get accepted at the same time frame. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta hold the same standards when it comes to outside coaches. Be like, hey, that shit ain't cool. This black facing y'all white women doing, that shit ain't cool. But we like, oh, that's beautiful, that's art. That's like, nah, that shit ain't cool. They feel like they get a pass because we're not holding them accountable. None of my outside friends that's not black, they won't even part their lips to say it. You know what I'm saying? Even my Mexican friend, like, nah, fam, you don't get that right to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to hold each other accountable. We got to hold that to accountability. We got to be like, nah, we got to cut that shit short.
And why do you think people feel so comfortable saying it?
Because we let them. Black people let them. They, you know, because you white with a black girlfriend or boyfriend don't mean nothing. Don't give you a pass to say that or do whatever. You know what I'm saying? It just don't work that way. They got to be held to the same accountability. Like, it just don't work that way.
And I know that from what I've seen, some people say that the N-word is just a word that anyone can say.
No, it's not just a word. Like me personally, I try to use it at a minimum. Like when I'm joking with my homeboys, we're in our like, I'm not gonna say in front like that. We're in our places and we talking. We say it here and there, but like everyday conversation, nah. Even when they rap music, you know what I'm saying? I try to more or less, I'm not gonna cut you short, but I do try to, hey, read more, find other words, impact your vocabulary. And not only help you in your music, but when you're holding a conversation with somebody, you are go in your repertoire and use other things as well, and talk to people as well. You know what I'm saying? So they say the power, I put it like this, if it's just a word, it won't be controversial. If it's just a word, they won't fight so hard to say it. If it's just a word, then we'll be like, okay, cool. If it was such a word, just a word, you wouldn't plead your case of why you should have the right to say it. If it's just a word, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's equivalent to an atheist saying, I don't believe in God, but you're going all out your way to prove why it's not a God. Me, if I don't believe in something, I'm not going to waste my time and my day proving why your thing, whatever you believe in, don't exist. I'm not going to go out proving why, this is why we should use it. If it's just a word, then why we got to go to the extreme for you to get a pass to use it in? If it's just a word. You know why? Because you want us to accept that it's just a word and keep it moving. But just the artifacts of you just going down your timeline just to prove why you should say it, show you by within itself, it's bigger than just a word.
Yeah, I totally do agree with you. And so let's go to more of the social media aspect of so how do you think social media plays into racism?
Social media plays into racism like this. Social media is about clickbait, views, and traffic. Mm-hmm. If a white cop, think about it, that black cop shot that white lady in Minnesota. It was on TV for a while. He got sentenced, but how long did it play?
30 seconds.
Like through a whole year, how long did you hear about it? You heard when it happened and when he got sentenced. There was a 3 to 6 month time frame. White cop shoot black kid, black girl. How long they gonna play? All day, every day. All day, every day. White shoot white. How long does it play? When it happened and the sentencings. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, Freddie Gray. When it happened, the deliberation, it slowed down when they showed black cops was involved. It was not all white and black. You see how? So you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
So it has to be the perfect black and white story. Black cops shoot, or white cops shoot black kid unarmed. If it rile the community up, if it get the clickbait going, if it have the news rating up, and it plays the media, it bits and pieces. You know what I'm saying? You in journalism, so you know how it go. you know how it plays roles. It's an emotional tug. The most powerful person in media is the editor, not the person shooting the camera. It's the editor. You can shoot the whole story, but it's the editor's job to make you believe what that guy saw.
And so with that, well, why do you think so many people try to like throw themselves out there on social media just so to speak to see who they are?
So for one, because that's how the American way. America was built on blood, shitting on each other, stealing. Hey, look at me. Look what I done. I discovered this. I'm going down in history. Me, me, me. That's how America was. You know what I'm saying? You can't spell America without me. You know what I'm saying? It just, you can't. That's what it was built on. You know what I'm saying? And nowadays, they taking it out. They making buffoonery and clowning the quicker way to make money, the quicker way to be funny, to be famous. You know?
And you think with all that happening, it's kind of degrading black people?
Yeah, think about it. Like, it helps culture when it degrades black people. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look, I mean, think about the people with the natural lips and the natural hips. It ain't become beautiful until Angelina Jolie lips were just, oh my God, it's Hollywood ready. Big butts and nice breasts, flat stomachs was a thing of, okay, this, until the Kardashians started coming around. You see what I'm saying? Stuff that we didn't have in our culture for years. But then, you know, it's different when a black woman walking around like that. Serena got the same thing. She built like a man. She did. She can't wear that because it's too much assets. You know what I'm saying? It's always a nitpick when it comes to the culture. Once again, they go back to they love black culture and black ideas as long as they don't come from black people.
And so now, so I go back to your experience of like facing racism.
Mm-hmm.
How did those events impact your views on society?
It made me more protective of my people, my circle around me. Mm-hmm. It made me more responsible of the things I say and put out. And it made me more protective of my daughter, because I know no matter what I tell my daughter, you know what I'm saying, I would have to let her know, even though you can be doing all the right things, you're gonna be targeted. They're gonna test your self-tenacity, your ambition by telling you, you know, you cute, where's your butt? You don't got no titties, your stomach flat, or this, you're not good enough for that society, or this and that because you're black. So it makes me more aware and makes me more prone to promote black love, black culture, not killing each other, wear black brands, wear this, you know what I'm saying? It makes me more prone. I'm like, I've been out there from a kid to those little incidents to the big military world and traveled across the world where they see black people the same, it's just in a different language.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a synonym, just different language, different words. So it made me more aware of my walk and what I display as a black man in America.
And so with all those around you, your family and friends, how would you try to explain to them like what's happening through your story?
Just sit down conversations, like especially as a leader of being an entrepreneur and semi-successful and will become more successful. How did you get here? What some of the things you do? You know, these different things happening. And even like just being in the business or being on another magnitude where you see or hear things like, this commercial can't work. It got too many minorities in there. We need an all-white commercial. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. To that degree, it's like, oh, wow. Do I stand for that? Do I still wear your logo? Do I still wear your brand? Like, is it that easy to walk away from it? You see what I'm saying? So just telling them and being straight up front and honest with them. You know, like this book that says the quicker way to get word to farm, it don't work that way for you. You black, it don't work that way for you, you know?
So as a parent, as a father to your little girl, what are your fears and concern as she grows up?
That she ain't good enough for white America. That's the worst place to be. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Oh, you know, you go for competition and they won, and that's a symbol of success. That's my biggest fear, that she will feel like she's just not good enough. So I teach my daughter that, you know, I know everybody want their kids to be kings and queens, but the aspect of a king and queen, you gotta learn how to conquer. So I teach my daughter with the conquer mind frame. Like I said, she was born premature, 31 surgeries before she turned 2. And there's nothing you can't conquer and survey. That's the assets. That's the core of being a queen. Know how to problem solve, conquer, and dominate in your lane. When you're in your own lane, there's no traffic. And that's what I teach my daughter.
And so come from you. How do you feel telling your story today to me?
I talk about it all the time anyway. This time I'm just on camera. You know what I'm saying? So I pray that it touches somebody and they see like, wow, especially just from the military aspect for those. And I'm not talking about, down in the military and things like that. I'm just talking about my experience, the things I have seen, you know what I'm saying? Even from recruiters going to the hoods to get soldiers out of there to make quotas and stuff. Or they may call it something else, whatever, but it's just another day on the job. So when I get to talk about black issues, I get excited.
So now I'm going a little bit on a different path here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you an idea. So what if the roles were switched?
Mm-hmm.
So what's it like? There wasn't no white privilege, white America. It was just black privilege. What if there's like black privilege,
Mm-hmm.
where the blacks were the oppressors and whites were like blacks as
Mm-hmm.
we are now? How do you feel about that? Like,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think if the roles were switched, being that who we are as black people, we'll still be like, we'll speak on issues more or less. We'll be the ones that be like, hey, you don't do him like that. You don't mistreat her like that. Oh, that's messed up. Because that's who we are. Mm-hmm. When that white kid got killed, All Lives Matters wasn't there. Black Lives Matter came and showed up, though. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's proven that, you do something to be spiteful to us as a culture, but when somebody outside our culture got killed, we was there marching. It took away all that extreme racist group and stuff of that nature. We embrace it, just in our DNA to just love. You ever seen a woman who have no kids, see a kid in need, a black woman, that mother instinct just kick in? Or that man just protects. He may do it his own way and teaches, because that's just who we are. So it was black privileges and stuff like that. I still feel we'll pull those people up to be equal or close to us, because that's just who we are, it's just naturally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just who we are. So.
And so with that added, so instead of looking at your perspective, from others' perspective, how did they feel about that?
But I'm gonna tell you something. From people I know, the white people be in trouble. White people would be in trouble if the role was reversed. They would be in trouble. A white boy with a black girl, if the roles were switched, boy, they'll be in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, especially if we switching roles with the same feeling, like, oh, we've been on this side of town. It's your turn. It would be a lot of blood for blood. It'll be a lot of corporations firing people. Because we've been there. Unnecessary work for nothing, I think they'll go through it with some people. Not all, I can't speak for everybody. But overall, I think a lot of people will give you a taste of your own medicine. Police, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You'll get it. But then again, we got so many black cops that sit and give these people passes, do what they want to do. They'll probably get punished too just because. Because it's like, yo, you're a black man in the black community. You know how black kids are. You know how we're taught. So why you acting like that? Like I said, same thing in the Army. You're a black NCO. I can't believe you're allowing this to happen. You know what I'm saying? So I think it'll be an interesting melting pot. It'll be a gumbo. It'll be definitely gumbo.
So with that whole idea in mind, so what if like racism was never a thing? How do you think the world would be?
I think the world would be prosperous if racism wasn't a thing. Like, it just didn't exist. I think it'd be very prosperous. You know what I'm saying?
So can you explain that from your ideas or what you think it would be like?
If racism never exists, I think, how can I put it? Africa would be Africa. It wouldn't be an America. It wouldn't be America. Because it was a perfect harmony and peace. They would never left England and Britain. We'll still be in Africa, doing our tribal thing, minding our own business. You see what I'm saying? You wouldn't know what inferior or superior mean. You wouldn't know what lower class, middle class, anything means. Because once again, it's a non-factor. You'll help build that low struggling village. Instead of sending a dollar sign, let's keep it. Cancers and stuff happens. So, because that's a parasite that's in everybody's immune system. As a flare up, we would have been had the cure instead of making money out the problem. Racism and class plays a role in all this. If it wasn't exist, we would have had these things already.
And so, what do you think is stopping that from happening?
Money. I do feel other coaches are intimidated by black people. Hands down, they are intimidated by black people. I mean, even just our genetics. You're like, I don't know how that dude can jump that high. He's 10. He just jumped that gate. No hands. You know what I'm saying? We can go under the sun and don't worry about getting cancer and stuff that much. It's just certain things that come with being black that just other coaches don't have. It just is where it is. So, that's why they got all these studies. They give them so much money to study your blood. What pills are you immune to? It's just certain things in our system that just don't affect us. It's just certain things about, about black people, our women. It catches our eye. You know what I'm saying? Even in the Bible, the wisest man in the Bible, King Solomon, fell for a black woman, Ethiopian, messed him up. He couldn't leave him alone. He couldn't leave him alone. So it's in your religion that you believe in, Black people are a problem, not in a bad way, but it's just like, you're the king. You gotta hide your crown and sneak away to go to Ethiopia and get what you like.
So what if one day all the stuff that happened, it was just it was gone and we were all on just equal footing. And in 2019, how do you think that would look?
I'm gonna be honest with you. It would be an automatic takeover. If we was on equal playing fields, if black people was on equal playing field with white people across the board, let's talk Hollywood. You think Julia Roberts is gonna outdo Viola Davis? If we was on equal playing field, we talking opportunities and everything. Do you think who else? I don't know. Gary Owens would be a lot bigger than Cat Williams. Do you think Larry Bird would be greater than this if we was all on bigger playing field? The even playing field. Endorsements, medicals. You gotta keep in mind, the first open heart surgery was done by successful and black people, black men. So when we talk about an even playing field, no racism, you know what I'm saying? Do you think, honestly, that it'll be equal like that? I think we just think different and outside of the box and out. We're talking about even with just a person that a black woman making nanobites to put in your system to eat cancer cells and parasites. Trust me, and it's been successfully done. Dr. Sebi got known documented facts are healing AIDS, getting rid of the mucus and different things. So the question that you asked me, college student, if we was on the same playing field, do they really have a chance?
Yeah.
So, HBCUs, if we was on the same playing field, then Yale, Stanford had a chance against black colleges if we was on the same playing field. We do away with racism. We keep the same formats. Bands, education, athletics, schools, they don't have a chance.
And so now going more into the social things of it, have you sought any justice from your experiences as a child to you coming down now as you are? Have you sought any justice towards the events that have happened to you?
Justice, no. Because of the fact that I think they do a lot of things. Somebody got to take the fall every 60 events to shut the black people up. Hey, all rapists, I just feel rapists should go to just die. But that cop that was raping those women that got found guilty, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was so much behind that of just black things happening that you gotta do something, because before it get out of hand, you guilty, go to jail, and you probably only gonna get 2 or 3 years, and we ain't even gonna know you when you get out. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Even with just the guy that raped the young woman by the dumpster, he can't go to prison, he's gonna mess up his scholarship, he had a bad judgment. The young girl who was sold into sex trafficking, 16, killed somebody, although he was sleeping, but prostitution, sex trafficking, beaten, pimped out. 16, you shoot and get away and go back to your pimp, because that's how you institutionalize, you get life. You know what I'm saying? And we can start even with Trayvon. No justice there, you know? Sandra Bland, you Photoshop a mugshot of a woman's dead, and nobody, you know, justice. And when they finally do something, it's just to shut us up so we won't tear anything up. The quicker way for white people to go to prison and do time is mess with the government money on a federal level. That's when they like, oh no.
And so, what do you think obstructs that from that search of justice, or from it even happening?
What stops that?
Yeah.
Because it's unhidden, it's hidden quotas and stuff that has to happen. I mean, a privately owned prison can sue the state for not filling their prisons up.
And so with that, what do you think causes the main issues in communities or in neighborhoods or in schools involving race? What do you think is the big issue there?
Well, one, television. When you got people in office calling us predators and striking fear about black people, it makes the police and everybody draw their weapons out. Not all. All cops are not bad. Let me just say that. No, all cops are not bad. Just like anything, you have your bad apples. But the difference is, what causes the problem is they're not taking accountability for those actions. If you got a person that's out of pocket and they got a history of that, you need to hold their foot to the fire. Something needs to happen. So we know that we on the same playing field. You know what I'm saying? This white boy come through here and shoot somebody because he thought it was a cell phone and you didn't go down the protocol. Oh, your thing is, I'm threatened. I feel threatened. I don't get it, and you get off. What kills me with white America, y'all will go swim with sharks. You will go wrestle a bear. You will go play with the deadliest animal in the world, but a hoodie freaks you out. You see what I'm saying? You go in space, don't know what's up there. So you say, you go in space, unknown place, no threats and anything, but you come down and I was threatened. Oh no, he had his hand in his pocket. So when you're being taught certain things, in that degree, then that's what happens. And yes, it's being taught, regardless. It's being taught. It takes long to go learn how to do hair. It takes longer to go learn how to do hair than go through a police academy to learn how to patrol the streets. Come on, fam.
What ways do you think can help fix that?
We need to get more black people in office. That's one thing. And keep these people that, I mean, you got to patrol neighborhoods, but I swear to you, if you keep more black people in these communities with these who understand these kids that come from that area and know how to de-escalate a situation, you know what I'm saying? You know, white cops on the east side, they are already intimidated just from the reputation. So just say you from Clarksville, Tennessee, and you get transferred down here to San Antonio, and all you hear is the east side, 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 east side. Your briefing, this area right here, east side, east side, east side, east side, south side, south side, south side. Your first patrol, how you think you're gonna be feeling?
That's quite different. And so with that in mind, how do you think society chooses to pursue the issue of racism?
By money.
Explain.
Racism make money.
How exactly?
Because if it was a white girl like Cedric, you think they would have made the news and made they clicked and bakes and stuff like that? Mm-hmm. No, of course not. Of course not. You see what I'm saying? Racism makes money. Look at the food stores. Let's just take it basic. You don't think the HEB off of Martin Luther King or W.W. White is a low scale to the one in Castle Hill shirts, the Walmart and shirts in Cibolo, up to standards when the ones in the urban communities are not? Racism make money. You're not finna see how those foods that give you blood clots and bring your diabetic up in shirts in Cibolo like that, like you're gonna do on the east side and south side.
And so, how do you think society should go about pursuing justice?
People that commit crimes like that, you gotta hold them to the fire completely. You can't just do one culture like that and let everybody else go free. You got to hold your people accountable. When I was an NCO, they didn't say when that soldier messed up, they didn't say, PFC Bellamy or Sergeant Bellamy messed up. They said First Platoon messed up. You see what I'm saying? Even with, like, lately, Liam Neeson talking about he was looking for a random black man to beat up or kill because his friend got raped by somebody black, so they say. So you freely to say that, you know what I'm saying? Then you need to be held accountable. That's an act of terrorism, domestic terrorism. So somebody needs to be held accountable for that, punished.
And so, do you think that for black people especially, or anyone else, like, choice of words kind of decides how people react?
Of course, words are powerful regardless of what people want to say. Words trigger things. You know what I'm saying? Words trigger things. It can be traumatic. So as a culture, we have to be careful. It's sadly to say, but we got to be careful how we talk or how we say certain things. Where other people can say what they want to do, what they want to do. Because, you know what? They're not being held accountable for their actions. There's no repercussions. For us, they want to make an example out of us by any way possible. They just want to make it. They want to make an example out of us by any way possible, man.
I see. And so now I'm gonna go be a bit more spiritual with you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So tell me about your background with faith, like just growing up in a church family.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell me about that?
Yeah. My mom, okay, it was one of those rules, you live in my house, you got to go to church type thing, but she ain't forced religion on us, if that makes sense. If you get it, you get it, but on Sunday, if I'm getting up going, you're not going to sit in my house, that type of thing. But eventually, even with church, as I grew up, I was like, there's a control factor. A lot of people use it as a control factor. And some churches are good at what they do, and other churches is a business. At the end of the day, I learned that ministry, you drop the M, you in the industry. It's a money, you making money. You know what I'm saying? You look on TV nowadays, you remember Real House of Atlanta, now you got the lifestyles of mega pastors, and they living like rock stars and stuff of that nature. So it's up to you at the end of the day to choose you eat the meat and spit out the bones, you know what I'm saying? And I know people are back and forth with, the Israelites and white Christ, this Christ. I'm like, I don't, it's a big thing. But religion is one of the form of weapons they use against the black community. Let's just be honest about it.
And so with that, so for all stuff you faced growing up, how would your faith help with that?
Growing up, my faith helped. Especially when I got wise to what I know, like, it don't matter who you believe in. You know what I'm saying? They call Christians extremes. They call Muslim terrorism. Don't care who you believe in at the end of the day. But you as a person, you know what I'm saying, you got to have value in your faith. You put in the work and have faith that your work turn into some revenue or impactful. Don't care how much faith you got. If you ain't working, you just dreaming. It's just a dream. Faith without works is dead. That's why it's there. So you can have all the faith you want to, but if you don't work towards it, then you just at a standstill.
So, how do you think most traditions based on religion deal with the issue of race?
They don't.
How? In your own words, explain that.
Because a black person can get killed in the streets. You'll come to church and not address it. You'll say Jesus is the answer. That's not good enough. You know what I'm saying? That's not good enough. Because obviously they don't care about, us. I mean, the guy just went and the guy shot up a church of 9 black people. And nobody addressed that. You know what I'm saying? It comes a time where you got to deal with the earthly realm, the world. If your girlfriend break your heart and cheat on you, you don't want to hear, oh, God have a plan for you. He set that up. And you don't want to hear that. You're like, no. You want to be like, hey, son, ain't no pain like the opposite sex. In due time, it's going to heal, but you got to be careful. We don't do that in church.
And so, do you think church plays a big part of what race is?
Oh, of course I do. I do think all these big black churches, what 501Cs, I think the government pay them enough money to stay out of black issues so they don't open their mouth.
That's something different. I haven't heard.
I'm in the community. I'm really in the community every day, so.
And so with that added, as a community man, is there any concerns you have within the community?
Yeah, man, there's not enough funding for stuff. Like, we want to let's do anti-drug campaigns. Let's do anti-sex campaigns. Let's do anything negative for the youth. But we're not going to proactively give y'all programs. We're not going to give you boy clubs. We're not going to give you art classes after school. We're not going to give you tech classes. We're not going to give you studio classes. We're not going to give you anything of that nature, but we want you to stay away from sex, drugs, and everything without counteracting it. If you really cared that much besides your face, you'll put the money into the community of, hey, this is a community studio. This is a program for the people that want to learn this trade or this trade or this trade or that trade. The arts are not important, but just however, a big percent of the world is into art, whether it's painting, music, writing, see what else, filming, production, what you're doing right now. Well, I would be surprised if y'all have a program outside of St. Philip's at a high school teaching the person journalism, how to have camera etiquette, how to deliver your questions, but we don't. We won't do it because there ain't no funding. However, we got the equipment, we can go set up ourselves. Ain't nobody doing that. I have a studio. I have a stationary studio, and I have a mobile studio where I go to events and I set it up and give these kids classes. So sometimes things don't need money, but we use that as an excuse.
And why do you think this happens? Those ignoring the black communities.
Because, like I said, as long as they can keep us submerged up under the eyes of poverty. Because we make it, only black community, we give each other a hard time for having good credit. Like, how you do that? You hear the jokes and stuff. Yeah. Oh, look at this smart head. We do that. You know what I'm saying? As long as they got us like that, then they winning. They don't even got to be racist no more because they teaching you self-hate, self-racism. We joke about light skin, dark skin and stuff of that nature, but it's part of their plan.
And with that about racism, do you think black people can be racist?
Hell yeah, black people can be racist.
So, can you explain from your perspective on how?
It can be little things, even like you've seen. Where you from?
I'm from Houston.
You from Houston? Okay, that's like Atlanta and Houston. Okay, okay. So, you ever been around like older black people and they see interracial couples?
Yeah.
They get livid a little bit, don't they? You know what I'm saying? Because of the experience of what they've been in. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't work hard, and you know what I'm saying? You're taking a black dollar and giving it to the white community again. Just different things that how do you think? You know what I'm saying? And sometimes people use our love for being pro-black doesn't mean we anti-white or we anti-Mexican, but I just love my culture more. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes they get confused. But yeah, black people can be racist, very. You know what I'm saying? They can be very racist, you know?
And so I'm going to take a few questions to end this off.
Okay.
How do you, are you hopeful for the future generations to come on them probably ending racism as a whole?
Are we going to ever end, am I hopeful? I'll tell you, I'm not going to answer that. I'm hoping that, racism end. Maybe I won't be around to see it. But in the mix of my hope, you know what I'm saying, you can't have hope without works. You got to go plant seeds. So going to schools and impacting people around you, equipping them with the tools to help build that hopeful future, it has to. It has to work. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So if you go and put in that work and plant seeds and hope that it touches 1, 2 people to spark that change, then yeah, I have a child. I pray that she don't have to go through that. So I work so hard where she can have her own. she can know about what's wet without having to go through the hoops of being accepted by white society. Because, even you, like I said, black lives and black success is a threat when it threatens white comfortability.
And do you think that there might be a chance that for the generations to come that they might be ignorant to race, both black
I
and
think,
white, or any
I'm gonna be honest,
race?
with this new generation coming up behind us, if you look at racism now, there's a lot of politics, social media, and different things going on. This generation can care less about your skin color. Damn, when they fall in love, they don't even see gender no more. You could be a boy or girl, or transvestite, they don't care no more. So if we talking body parts, so I think this generation coming up behind us, like I think they're more unified than anything. This generation coming up, I mean, it's a good, bad thing. They so goddamn carefree that they don't even see it when it's in their face. But however, at the same time, they so carefree they don't see it, don't stop them either from accomplishing their goals. So it's a two-headed sword. You know what I'm saying?
So, as far as you are, what ways do you think, even for your own daughter or anyone else's kids, that they can help to possibly end this, like in the forms of educating them?
Well, for one, like even my daughter's mom, you know what I'm saying? Shouts out, she dope. We teach our daughter first and foremost, you have to equip yourself. You got to know who you are. Don't mix your identity up with your abilities because it's two different things. Most people lose themselves once their ability's gone. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Conquer those things, set yourself up for success, and equip yourself in your mind now, like if this happened, this is how I'm gonna handle it. I'm not gonna compromise my moral compass or my moral self. You human, you're gonna fall short, you're gonna snap, you're gonna have human traits. But conquering those things of yourself and learn to love yourself more, enough to respect, to leaving room to fall out with anything else because you love yourself more, you stand for something.
Awesome. And so, is there anything you'd like to say to the audience before we end this?
Anything, work hard. Work hard on yourself first. Be honest and loyal to yourself, and don't compromise yourself for nothing. Your moral compass is important. You are priceless and you are valued. Once we learn how valuable we are, we'll stop looking for acceptance from the outside coaches because we are the movement.